我哋嘅主講嘉賓咧會分享佢不斷發揮創意啦，去努力聯繫社群嘅歷程嘅。Our keynote speaker today will share his innovative ways to connect people in a community. We're going to invite the Mr. Matthew Tam, CEO of Social Korea and Around, to be on stage to share his wonderful story with us. Mr. Tam, please.
Hello, everyone. First, I would like to say a big thank you to Professor Ao and his team to invite me to do the sharing, because not too long ago, I think around 3 years ago, I was one of those participants in the startup competition. So it was also organized by Professor Ao's team, like the Google I program. So we were the winning team of one of the winning teams of the first Google I batch in 2014. So that was my team with my mentor Alex on the left side at Silicon Valley Google headquarters. Why I showed this picture at the start is I originally thought there were a bit more students or participants coming today, so I wanted to tell them, like, if you see Alex today, grab him right now, because mentorship, to be honest, in all those competitions, I think mentorship is the most key thing, because they can open so many doors, help you to overcome challenges or make sure you don't make certain mistakes, because I think I can say that he's not here. He's one of the most toughest mentors. He doesn't bullshit, and it's really just like saying, like, if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. So coming to my title, how might I start my social career? So you'll think, what is a social career? Is social career a new definition or a new description of like entrepreneurs who go the social path, or is it something else? I think at the end of my sharing, you will know. So it didn't start at Silicon Valley. So how it started was this, a notice board. So I actually grew up in Switzerland, and there was a lot of those notice boards out there before the time of smartphones. So we used a lot of these notice boards to share information, sell things, communicate with the community about events and all of things. So I thought it would be a good thing if we could do the same thing in Hong Kong, even in a different way. So Hong Kong is a very dense city. Everyone lives in those buildings. How about if we can connect those neighbors together? I'm sure some of you guys live in those big estates where you have a clubhouse. In a clubhouse, you have those physical notice boards where you can actually post things. And what we wanted to do is really creating a neighborhood network, doing the same thing virtually. My first startup was called MyFlat.HK. It's still existing, but it's under a new name called Around. Let me show you a quick video how the concept works.
MyFlat.HK is a private and secure neighborhood social network designed for Hong Kong residents. It enables you to connect with people who live nearby to build a community of help and support. There are many benefits to communicating with your real neighbors. For example, you can share or seek information on your estate.
I lived in Unit B and want to do some renovations. Can any neighbors recommend a good contractor for a good price?
Offer skills or ask for help.
Oh no, my laptop is dead and my paper is due tomorrow. Can any neighbors please help?
Seek advice or recommendations.
I really need to find a good tutor for my son. Does anyone know a qualified and trustworthy tutor who teaches in this estate?
And of course, you can also sell and give away used items to neighbors. And you can sell or rent a flat or parking space.
My lease ends soon and I want to stay in this neighborhood. Does anyone have or know of any flats for rent?
In order to ensure the integrity of each neighborhood network on MyFlat.HK, we'll send a verification letter with a unique passcode to your registration address in order to verify that you live in your estate. This check is a necessary step for everyone to confirm that the online neighbors in your community are really living where they say they live. So why wait? Sign up today to MyFlat.HK and be part of a useful community of your real neighbors.
So yeah, that was actually the video that I sent to you to the Google competition. So in here also comes the first challenge. So this is the idea, the concept. I connect neighbors. How am I going to execute it? How am I going to get people to sign up to that platform? And this is also the reason why I mentioned the mentor in the first place, because mentors can tell you certain things where no one else can tell you. So when we were discussing with some other people, okay, how do we expand the social network? Do we even take a bottom-up approach? So we try to market to the mass public and get them signed up? Or do we take a top-down approach? Top-down approach would be, for example, if we collaborate with property management company, tell them, hey, can we enter your estate? And then you help us promote it to your tenants, and then it's going to move much faster. And so by looking into that property management, so I looked in the process, or in my buildings, in the case, in terms of what's the current process. So for me, posting a physical notice on that board in my clubhouse. So I approached the property management. Basically, they will give me a form that I need to fill out physically. Then after, the property management will actually retype it into a very standardized format, and then they will post it on my behalf to the board. The whole process takes like up to 40 days, and I saw like, oh wow, if I do it virtually, I can do it instantly. So that's the benefit, that's the must work. So I was talking to the property management company, telling them that thing. So I was pitching to them, they said like, okay, they will review it. Obviously, then they never came back. The reason why is, I was also telling them the benefits, right? I was telling, okay, besides doing that for those tenants, you also sometimes post your notices about like, though there's no fresh water tomorrow and all those information. You could, in theory, do it online. We could actually have the information do it for you, and you will reduce your paper wastage and all things. Obviously, we used that to pitch, but then again, didn't help. The reason why is, one of my other mentors, he was head of a large property management company in Hong Kong, is that you need to understand how property management companies make money. So the way it works is, every building, they have a bank account, they will collect every month those management fees, and the property management companies, they will get a specific number, percentage of fees from that pool, right? If I'm telling them that, going forward, you don't need to provide that service or like posting the physically paper notices on the board and all things, that means that the landlords, in theory, could ask like, oh, can you reduce the property management fees? So that's basically, it's not in favor of property management companies. The other thing is, to make it so convenient for people to post a notice and share with the neighbors has some issues. They're thinking obviously on the negative side. They're saying, imagine if on your floor there's a garbage bin that doesn't have the cover. In the old days, you need to go down to the management office, you need to tell them, hey, there's no cover, can you fix it? Or you call them up. So they only like basically get back to within like 24 hours or within a week. Now, because you can do it instantly, your neighbors will see it. Some other neighbors from other floors might have the same issue, and they will just basically trigger that whole large, like a lot of complaints. And this only gives like property management way more issues. And obviously those things is, you can do a lot of like research as much as you want. If you don't have insider there, you will never know those information. So that was the first challenge we realized, and so we decided to take the bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach is also very hard. So we wanted to reach out to a specific community. How do we do that? We knew a lot of people, they do go to the streets and distribute flyers. We thought like, oh, since so many people are doing that, it can't be that bad. Let's try it ourselves. It was a nightmare. So three of us, we basically spent there that was in Tseung Kwan O for I think 4 hours. We had 3 sign-ups. And most of the people actually, they saw us from far. They was trying to really walking around us rather than like coming to us. So obviously probably it's not the best thing to have 3 guys promoting a platform. So, but then there's all those things, it's only you will learn after you really tried it, because you never know. But then you have to try it yourself. You don't just listen to other people. The other thing that we learned is really, we need to start creating value to the customer. So what we did start doing that is we started some local toy exchange in the community, and obviously it did attract some customers, but then it was a lot of effort. So every weekend, me and my partners, we spent at the different public parks, and then did those toy exchange, but then the uptake of users was very low. So that's also not probably the best way of expanding, especially a tech platform where the VC investors are expecting you to grow very fast. And then the moment came where we won the competition. So we've been invited to Google in Silicon Valley, learned a lot of different things, learned how to think big. I know a lot of people doing business in Hong Kong, they think maybe primarily of serving Hong Kong. But then at the end of the day is you should start from day one, think bigger than that. Because especially if you target the consumer market, so for me, if I would need to run marketing campaigns, whether I start with Hong Kong or San Francisco, probably the cost would be pretty similar. Because nothing, you spend that same amount of cash, burning cash to reach out to the people. Difference is once you reach a certain mass, it's in US, you will just grow. And the market potential is just much bigger than in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, you will spend the same amount of money reaching maximum 7 million. So one thing that I did see is, or what made me change was then I was totally changing my business model. My business model was not focusing on consumer, it was focusing on business. The good thing with business is I only need to hire one headcount, and that person can just help me to sell to 1 corporate, 2 corporates, 3 corporates. It's not scalable in that way, but it reduces my cost massively. And I don't need to spend any money on the marketing. So then we also changed, because just by saying we connect the neighbors doesn't really give a real people don't see the value right away. So we said okay, let's get some instant value services where we can help to introduce. So we launched some specific actions. So you can actually use the platform to buy, sell things. You can find or offer tutoring lessons. You can find your local events. We have part-time cleaning services and also property listing. And the last piece was volunteering. Why volunteering? And that leads me to my second venture that I'm going to actually introduce you now. Volunteering was when we launched a platform, we came back from Silicon Valley, we had some media reporting about a platform. So a lot of NGOs actually approached us and saying, hey, can we use your platform to recruit volunteers? And my first answer was, why don't you just go to Facebook? Facebook does that. You can reach way more people. But then they say, Facebook is not fit for that purpose because they serve only a specific local community. And because we are a platform that's very focusing on very smaller districts and communities, they think our platform is way more targeted, way more useful. And then for me, it was okay, it seems like there is a problem here. And it seems like there's not only one NGO is asking me, there's basically there were 10 NGOs asking me about the same time. So I looked at it a bit deeper and I really saw the demand for that. And so we decided to start our second venture, which is called Social Career. So Social Career is actually a volunteer matching platform. And we are fully funded by the Hong Kong Jockey Club. And it's actually a non-profit. I will tell in a bit why we decided to go for non-profit versus for-profit entity. There are certain upsides, but then also there are certain downsides. But let me show you first the video and explain what it does.
Hello， 大家好，今日想同大家介紹一下社職 Social Career 呢一個義工平台手機 App。打開 Social Career 手機 App， 你就可以睇到近期嘅義工活動啦。你可以以關鍵字搜尋唔同嘅義工機會，你亦都可以以地點啦、日期同埋崗位嘅類型等等去搜尋。當揾到合適你嘅義工活動咧，你就可以撳我想幫忙，填完所需嘅資料之後就可以撳提交啦。舉辦義工活動嘅機構咧將會接受你嘅報名，之後可以打開你嘅義工日程，就可以見到你將會出席義工嘅日期同埋時間啦。當義工活動咧完成咗之後咧，你就可以喺我的帳戶裏邊查閲你嘅 Social CV 社職履歷，係咪好簡單方便咧？快啲去下載社職 Social Career 手機 App 啦，等你啊！
So why did we do this? I mean, in Hong Kong, there are already a few volunteer management platforms out there. The main difference is, I think, if you can probably, you can see some of the mock-ups. We are very focusing on the volunteers. Most of the platforms out there right now in Hong Kong, they are built by NGOs for NGOs. So they didn't took the whole like user journey, user experience. There was nothing like that. But our platform is very much focusing on the volunteers, because only if the volunteers is happy with the overall user experience, they will come back and help more. Because volunteers going to be, you're only going to create way more impact if you do it on a more sustainable basis. And that's why we changed the way we do it. And also the name social career indicates a different mindset. So what's the vision? Our vision is basically that everyone in the world has a second career in their lives, which is about volunteering. There's their contribution to the society, and that's what we call social career. How did we come up with that idea was, so I wasn't, my previous career was not, I was not social worker, I was not in tech, I was investment banker basically. And then these days, obviously, banking is not making that much money anymore. All my friends, whenever we catch up, they're complaining how bad it is and all things, how lucky you are, you can do your own thing. I was like, how about you quit your job and then you can do the same thing? And then they come up with a lot of argument. Oh, house prices are so expensive. My daughters need to go to international school and all things. So okay, fine, I understand that. But then I was like, okay, fine. If money wouldn't be an issue, what would you do? What kind of profession would you do? And they were telling me, oh, I want to be a photographer, I want to be a reporter, I want to be a journalist. And I was saying, how about you use that as your hobby and turn it into a volunteer activity? And that's how the division came up. So also the difference to the other platforms out there is we are not only a platform between NGOs and volunteers, we have corporates, and something very new is actually universities and school. So the platform has been launched since early this year, officially. We already now have like over 220 NGOs on board. We I think, recruited a lot of different volunteers. A lot of them are actually skill-based. Right now, we are running with the corporates, with two major corporates, some pilot stage, where next year we're going to go live with all these other corporates. Those two corporates are actually very big. I can't name it, the name, but so one is a bank, one is a retail bank in Hong Kong, and one is a large public transportation company. And then if the universities and school, what we do is we actually allow the Student Affairs Office to track all the students' volunteer hours, because they have some e-learning requirements or mandatory things where they need to do. So where we are right now with those is Hong Kong UST has fully integrated our system to their student database. So Student Affairs Office or Hong Kong UST, they now can track every single volunteer contribution of the students that they do. They even can use our system to give them credits. The second university who agreed to join us is actually Lingnan University. And I hope the other universities out here will join as well. The school is, this is also something, school is just something very new. We just decided a month ago, okay, let's go beyond universities. So what we're gonna start doing is actually offering secondary schools to do that. So for those who know the school system, IE schools, they have something, a module called CAS, Creativity Activity Services. So they need to do certain volunteer hours. But the challenge there is also, a lot of these students are complaining, a lot of opportunities actually only for the locals, so it's also Cantonese speaking. And second, a lot of those volunteer opportunities are not suitable for underage people. So what we're saying is, since a lot of NGOs, they need volunteers to help them with the work, but then also they're not able to attract a lot of new volunteers helping them. One of the main reasons is actually they've been offering the same services over and over and over again. So just volunteers just thinking like, oh, there's nothing new, I'm not interested anymore. It's not that I don't care about elderly, but it's only there are a lot of like elderly visits opportunities out there where students are not very interested. But then I was saying, okay, since the students or the participants of this challenge, they're very creative, how about we allow these people to come up with new ideas and we match them with those initiatives, with those NGOs. So basically, these students can volunteer and create think tanks to help those NGOs to come up with solution for the NGOs. And we are a platform to help them to match that. And the school system then, we not only allow those, like for example, a specific IB school to create it within their own school, they can create new volunteer opportunities where they allow other IB schools to join their opportunities, and they can join other IB schools' opportunities. So we just started to approach schools. One of the first schools is actually Chinese international schools. They already agreed to sign up. So what's in for the volunteers? Volunteers, we have, I think, 4 main features. One is an advanced search that you can search by a lot of different topics: service location, service date, keywords, roles, and the recipients. Service location is actually one of the most important things because we realized that when we did some survey and some research, a lot of people would only go to a specific volunteer opportunity once or twice if it's too far. And then it's very logical. So in Hong Kong, it's actually very extreme because maybe Hong Kong is very convenient. So we asked some people, especially the professional crowd, who work in Admiralty, Central, and they might live at mid-levels. So I was saying, what's the furthest you're willing to go? So they say to the west, it's basically the island is fine. It's a Kennedy town. To the east is actually Taikushing. So Taiwan apparently is already too far for them. Okay, on the south, there's not much to help with. On the north side, it's actually Tsim Sha Tsui. Tsim Sha Tsui, that's it. So Mong Kok is already too far. And someone explained to me, it's like, but you know, like I signed up for some Thai boxing class in Mong Kok, and then after 2 months, I didn't go anymore because it was too far. And even for something that they paid, they still think like, oh no, I drop it, it's too far. So what do you think about volunteering? So that's why I think location is one of the key things. It's also, again, related to the community. Then we also have a newsfeed, and our newsfeed shows a lot of different volunteer opportunities, like job cards, where they're going to be personalized once the user has signed up. We will show you those NGOs that you have help with higher priority. If you know that you only do volunteer work at weekends, we will show weekend opportunities at higher priority. If we know that you only do volunteering opportunity at a specific district, those will show at higher priority. And if you have signed up with your Facebook account, you share your friends list, then we'll tell you which of your friends have signed up for upcoming opportunity. Doing volunteering is also something very social because when we did that, we were trying to find out why would people volunteer? What's the real reason behind it? Unfortunately, I think only a small portion is really for people who really want to help others, and they do it like for years. A lot of other people, they actually just want to do it because they want to feel better themselves. Ultimately, they do say, I want to help, but then ultimately it's for them to feel better. Some of them are just bored. One big fraction, especially between, I think, university students and young professionals, is actually dating. People are actually going to these events to meet other people. So like, I think these days it's very popular to go hiking. So instead of hiking, we can just go volunteering, and it makes like my image looks better because I volunteer, so it makes me more attractive. So there's a lot of those things. And then there's one specific sector. Apparently, there are a lot of insurance brokers going there to sell the product. So for us right now, it's not to select who should volunteer, who should not. For us, it's now promote volunteerism in general. And then later we will use a lot of different algos and all things to select the good ones. Or at least we're trying to do that. The third thing is something what we call social CV. Since our name, we call ourselves social career, so we have also something called social CV. What it does is basically it is like your professional CV, but we just list out all your volunteer opportunities. The difference from LinkedIn and us is LinkedIn, you have to key in those your experience yourself. For us, it will automatically generate for you. Basically, once the NGO nonprofit has confirmed the hours, it will show up on your CV. And then you can also obviously a lot of students have asked, can we download that? Can we convert it into PDF? We allow you to print it out or convert it into a PDF file. So those hours will be automatically generated, automatically captured. We also have a rating. A rating is also something we debated a long time. Should we do a rating? So someone's coming for volunteer, and now I'm even going to rate them. But then based on the NGO's feedback, they said like, that's again, university students. A lot of university students, they do volunteer, but they're also the most unreliable ones. A lot of no-shows and all things. So we said, okay, let's implement the rating. And what the rating does is, it does rate after each volunteer opportunity. The NGO will rate the volunteer, how good he was. But then also, if he just doesn't show up, our system will downgrade him automatically. So hopefully using that rating, it makes it more sticky, and it hopes that the student will participate more often. And also, we're going to start giving talks to university students why a social CV is actually important. And I mean, like looking at UST have a lot of students, they want to go into investment banking, that's what we want to do. And I was like, okay, when I was working as investment bankers, I looked at a lot of CVs. How are you going to differentiate yourself? A lot of them, they have high GPAs, they have similar kind of internships, so what makes you different? The next thing I would look into it would be something like a social CV, because I would want to see like what kind of volunteer job have you done, not in terms of whether you have a heart or not, but because you have dealt with different kind of people. It makes it tells me that at least I think your soft skills are better, your communication skills are better. You know how to deal with certain different kind of people. So I think that would be hopefully one of the trends where social CV will be taken into factor for corporates to hire volunteers, grads. The last thing is incentive programs. This is also feedback that volunteers have told us. What do we get in return? We have 2 programs right now. One is in partnership with another charity called Time Auction. Time Auction is saying, if you volunteer for 10 hours, you can meet some of these amazing mentors. And that's actually very popular, and it attracts a totally different crowd. I was recently in a few months back in a mentor, one of those incentive programs. I met with Lau Mingwei, and then with some other people. But then those people, the volunteers who attended, were actually people where I never expected they would volunteer. They were like managing directors from banks, private banks especially. So obviously the purpose for it is slightly different. So the way you see it is basically you can say social career real like Cafe Pacific, and Time Auction is our Asia Miles. And then we're gonna actually add more incentive programs to it. The second thing we have is, a lot of you might know, I don't know, some of them probably know Jukes. Some of them know probably better Spotify. Jukes is the Tencent version of Spotify. So what's the deal with them is, if you volunteer for 5 hours every month, we'll give you the VIP plan, the 1 month plan for free. You can do it every month. If you volunteer 5 hours every month, you get every month for free. So it's not a one-off. So for the NGOs, I think what we really looked at was the volunteer recruitment process. They did a lot of with WhatsApp these days, but then actually there are a lot of inefficiencies there. So we looked at the process and we changed it. So in a nutshell, how it works is the NGO, they will create a volunteer opportunity on a platform. They can share it through Facebook, WhatsApp, or the bank show on a platform. The volunteer can apply for that opportunity. Once they apply, it will end up in a dashboard from the NGO side, and they can approve each individual volunteer. They can set automatic rules where the volunteer should be automatically approved because he already has worked for us before, and other reasons. But also, you can, if a volunteer is really bad, you can actually, as an NGO, you can blacklist the volunteer. So then next time the volunteer applies for a job of your organization, it will be red flagged. So then you will know, okay, just find an excuse to refuse them. And then on the participation day, we actually have check-in mechanism. The check-in mechanism works very much with QR code. Every volunteer who uses a smartphone has a dedicated QR code, and then you go to the event, you show your QR code, and you will scan it, and then you will capture your timestamp and your attendance. If there's a volunteer who doesn't know how to use a smartphone, so the NGO side has actually a virtual attendance list. So they can just click on the person, they will capture the hours as well. And then after the event, the NGOs will confirm the hours, and then both sides can give a rating. So we decided to be fair, not only allowed NGOs to rate the volunteer can also rate the NGO. The reason for that is actually more for the corporates. Corporates, obviously these days, they do care more about CSR, corporate social responsibility, especially since the Hong Kong Stock Exchange has those requirements, those ESG requirements, saying you need to report certain things. But then the corporates were approaching us and saying, hey, we want to do more volunteering, we want to partner with NGOs. Did you do some due diligence on NGOs? And I was like, so what do you expect us to do? We check the NGO's record and all things, accounting. There's no way of doing that. So the way we do that is very similar to Uber is, if a lot of volunteers complain about a specific NGO, we will look into it. And then if we found something dodgy, then we will just close the NGO's account. So that's the way we do it. Because we do believe NGOs in general, they want to do good. And those bad NGOs are just exception. I don't want to basically create a process that's managing exceptions rather than the norm. There's also way more extra effort. So the next one is obviously volunteer hours capturing. That's already done. The third one, volunteer management. Volunteer management is more for the large NGOs where, for example, Tonghua, they have a lot of different centers. Apparently, all these centers, they don't communicate with each other. So Center A doesn't know what Center B does, Center B doesn't know what Center C does. They don't even share the same volunteer management platform. They wouldn't know if the same volunteer helps different kind of centers. The key thing is that they might lose out some volunteers to other NGOs. The reason is, some of the volunteers, they might help a specific cause, like for example, the youth center for 2 years, and they might want to do something different. If your NGO has different kind of centers, you should offer them to go different centers. So very similar in the corporate life is your manager will do an annual review with you and saying, how do you like your job? Do you want to do something new? Do you want to do the same job? What do you want to do in 3 years? Ideally, every social worker should do that with their volunteers. I'm sure they will kill me if I propose that because it's so much work. So we do it automatically. Once in a while, we'll push them a notification, ask them, oh, are you happy with that specific NGO? Do you want to continue to do the same thing? If he clicks on I want to do something new, we'll propose 3 different suggestions within the same NGOs. So it helps basically the NGO to manage the volunteers and keep them within their own organization. The last thing is about, for the corporates and universities, basically the same module. Volunteer management system. So I always thought corporates, they would have a very sophisticated system, how to recruit their in-house volunteers from the staff. But apparently, the only thing they do is send out an EDM, an email to all these staff, ask them if you're interested, reply. So you can imagine that HR person who received like hundreds of yes, no, oh, I'm late, I cancel. So it's a nightmare to manage. So the system we built for NGOs, we actually offer to corporates as well. And this is the way we're gonna generate revenue. Even as a charity, we shouldn't really just go out to the corporates or to the donors and ask them for money, because that's just not something sustainable. So we need to become self-sustainable. And the way we do it is we actually going to generate revenue from corporates and also from the schools. Why from corporate is corporate these days, they tend to outsource certain things that's not key, especially banks and all things. Obviously, if you do something that's part of their core competences, so for example, like in tech, if you're trying to build a trading platform for investment bank, then good luck, it's not going to work. Investment bank's core thing is trading, so that's going to be in-house. But anything that's not key, they might outsource it. It might be cheaper. So obviously, especially now, knowing that with the ESG requirement, the corporates need to start doing reporting. And they need to increase their volunteer hours. They need to boost them. But the hours has been going down, again, because those events are organized by a single HR person. They come up with the same event again. No new ideas. Hours are dropping. And also, some of the corporates are very greedy, saying like, oh, let's combine volunteering with team building. So they ask the team to go Team Shui Wai on a Saturday morning to do that. I'm sure you won't find a lot of staff attending. And the staff are not saying like, it's not that I don't volunteer, but it's I might rather want to volunteer. I might volunteer with my friends, with my families, with my kids, and I do it. Or I might already have a specific NGOs that I'm helping already. So the system will help them to actually capture all the hours that they do right now, and it helps with the reporting. The second thing, which is very unique. Sorry, this is the dashboard. Obviously, we measure all these different KPIs by number of volunteers, participation rate, number of skill-based volunteers, non-skill-based volunteers. You can do the breakdown. Some of the corporates, like property developers or property management companies, they even include, obviously, the tenants to join, the tenants' friends to join. They want the breakdown. We give it all to them at a cost. I think the second thing is the volunteer engagement module, which is very, very unique. So obviously, if they always have to go together with the corporates, they're never going to increase the hours. But now what I'm saying is, if you have certain incentives for your employees to do that, I think more and more corporates, they give the employees 2 days annual leave. So if you volunteer for 8 hours, I give you 1 day annual leave on top. So we're saying, why don't you allow your staff just to go to any events they want on a platform, and we report the hours back to you. You as a corporate, you can define, okay, I want to be affiliated with these 50 NGOs. Any job volunteer opportunities from these 50 NGOs, they're eligible of those counting volunteer hours. So if the staff attends it after the event, the nonprofit, the corporate will receive those hours, and then it's an audit trail, so everything is correct. So using that model, they will actually get way more hours, and also then all these hours they can be captured. Like if even they go with the family, they will get those hours. The last thing that we're currently doing is SROI measurement. SROI stands for social return on investment. Obviously, this is something that a lot of corporates have been trying to move away from volunteer hours, which totally makes sense at the end of the day. It's like, just by saying we contributed 100,000 volunteer hours, what does it mean? What's the impact? There's no measurement. The only measurement is hours. So we're trying to find some things like where we can start measure for different kind of like volunteer activities has a different kind of impact measurement KPIs. And the last thing is obviously the CSR reporting, which is adding value for the corporates. The last thing I wanted to mention is also, and I think that's where a lot of those young entrepreneurs can help is, you can actually even turn an existing event that NGO do into make it more attractive. I know we have one person here who attended actually as a volunteer, Clement. Thank you for helping out. So that was before our launch last year in December. We did a bread run, but then you see, okay, bread run. Why are Teslas here? Why are we at Elements? So we did something different. We are saying not only people can be volunteers, cars can be volunteers as well. So at that event, there were 30 Tesla owners coming out of the cars, transporting over 100 corporate volunteers to 70 bakeries across Hong Kong, Kowloon, and New Territories on a Friday night within 2 hours. And we delivered it to 10 different centers of St. James Settlement. Let me show you the video, and then I explain you why we did that.
其實做義工係咪一定就係去賣旗或者做探訪呢？我哋相信，如果用科技去推動義工服務，一定可以達至更大嘅影響。
Social Career 係一個幫你成為義工嘅科技平台，令到每個人都可以持續參與義工，建立到另一份事業。
我哋好開心可以同到另一個科技界嘅先行者 Tesla 成為合作伙伴，一齊推動持續性嘅義工服務。
I think it's a very meaningful event because you get to deliver bread to people who need those breads, and you also get to interact with them. You get to know them, you get to talk to them. I think it's a very good event.
喺16年12月2號，我哋一齊舉辦咗一次麵包回收嘅義工活動，動用咗差唔多30架 Tesla 電動車，過100名義工去咗接近70個地點收集麵包。
I think it's really impressive that you can get such a turnout at such short notice, because we only got notification about a week ago. So to get 100 people turning up and volunteering to help out for Christmas, it's a great spirit.
我哋相信持續性發展對義工服務同埋環境都一樣咁重要。我哋希望更多人可以開始體驗做義工嘅滿足感，所以將來會有越嚟越多人參與成為義工，對社會創造持續嘅正面影響。
So why did we do that? So I know a lot of charities or social enterprises, when they partner with corporates, they think like, oh, we're small, can you help us? But that's not the right approach. You need to offer those corporates a value. So obviously, the event at Elements, it was for free. And even after that event, Elements gave us 3 weeks of free space to promote our platform for free. Elements. Obviously, all these other corporates are participating as well. So why did MTR or Elements do that for us? Obviously, you need to understand what is it that they want. They're a shopping mall. They want more foot traffic. So, and then they go there, they consume, they dine. That's the way they make money. And who are their target customers? Ideally, those people from IFC, Bergen IFC. So you saw us, there were a few private banks actually at IFC. So that night, we're able to bring them 100 bankers to ICC. They have more foot traffic. They did the event. After the event, they went dining. That was the benefit for MTR. And so they're happy. Next, Tesla. Obviously, Tesla at the end is a car company. Yes, it is a CSR event, but then at the same time, it is actually very powerful for Tesla to say that it's actually not Tesla as a company who did the CSR. They are my customers. My customers are actually coming out and volunteering on behalf of our brand. That's a very strong message for Tesla. And the second thing is, at the end, they need to sell cars. Besides all the developing people that already sold the car, who are the next people? Bankers. How do you sell a car? The best way is to let them test drive. And the best selling point of Tesla is the acceleration. So you have bankers sitting on the back doing the volunteering. And I told the driver, just accelerate a bit and they will be very excited. And then so within 2 hours, I gave you like 100 more potential buyers. So that's the value for Tesla. And did they give you guys speeding tickets? No, I think that was okay. Well, we don't break the rules here. So yeah, so that was the development of Tesla, but then also for the corporates is obviously they had a lot of challenge getting the staff to volunteer, but that event was different. So Stanchart was one of those private banks who attended. They initially wanted 30 seats, so I gave them 30 seats. They promoted. Within 2 minutes of the promotion, it was fully subscribed. So they came back and said, hey, can I have 100 seats? I was like, how am I going to give you so many seats? There's not that many bakeries to collect bread from, actually. So I think what I'm trying to say is a lot of CSR work with corporates or between charities and corporates is also always a one-to-one relationship. But then there's actually much more synergies if you bring in the right corporates together. And the impact can be much bigger, and you can leverage on that. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. Stay on stage. Yeah, for the Q&A section. OK， 相信大家聽咗 Matthew 嘅分享咁耐咧，應該都有好多問題想問啦，咁就可以把呢個問答環節去問佢問題啦。If you have any questions or anything that you want to share, please grab this opportunity by raising your hand.
So. 通常咧，即係上完堂咁樣當我講完 talk 啲同學都唔係好想問嘢住嘅，咁所以梗係要揾撩一撩佢先。咁我問題都好簡單嘅，我相信。你即係搞呢個而家係個 charity 啦，其實我覺得係嚇，但係裏面有好多即係有好多 elements 喺裏邊。你覺得譬如你如果要俾一啲 advice 我哋嚟緊參加者嚇，或者 mentors 啦，其實嚇我哋呢度都好多 mentors， 你覺得 喺你搞呢間社企嘅過程裏邊，有啲乜嘢嘢係佢哋可以學到嚟，令到佢哋可以搞佢個諗法嘅時候，生意就更加成功咧咁樣。
我講少少點解其實我哋決定係做一個 charity， 唔係一個 social enterprise， 一個 for profit。呢個係比較 fundamental 係 day one 嘅，因為如果你攞到賽馬會錢，你就係一個 charity， 就你唔係一個 social enterprise。Obviously， 我哋如果你呢個平台你要 on board NGOs， 你要 on board volunteers， 都係 chicken and egg。其實呢個唔係 chicken and egg， 呢個一定係 on board volunteers 先。如果你話我 offer 呢個新嘅平台免費俾啲 NGOs， 我係一個 for profit 嘅公司，嗰啲 NGOs 係會好驚，佢哋覺得嚇你會攞我啲 data， 同埋 NGOs 最驚就 personal privacy 嗰啲 data privacy。佢哋唔會信你咯。你係一個 for profit 公司，你又免費，你要賺錢㗎，你肯定就 sell 我啲 data 出去。嗰個有咩好處就係、如果有一個類似就係有嗰個機構出名 versus 係一個SIE fund 定賽馬會，其實 reputation 已經好咗好多。我哋可以由7個月之內 on board 220間。NGO，even 有啲好大間博愛啊嗰啲都喺我哋嘅 platform 咧。其實呢樣嘢一定你係要用個 network 喺度。如果你真係有一個 social enterprise， 我相信可能而家我哋都仲係起緊步。所以呢個係一個 key thing 啊。但係就at the end of the day， 我哋話我哋都要想 self sustainable， 我想 make a profit， 我哋真係想可以唔使成日靠donation 啦。同埋其實我哋見到呢個 platform 可以 go global 嘅。個 global 咧就係有一個 issue 啦。如果你係 charity 咧，我點 go global？ 如果我淨係靠 donation， 我 grow 得唔夠快。所以其實我哋就要 day one 同我哋個 donor 傾到話 ，OK 香港我哋係一個 charity， 但係既然你個機構又唔會 support 我哋 outside 香港，因為 outside 條 scope， 嗰我就話你要俾我 for outside 香港，我係一個 for profit 嘅公司。因為點解係 for profit 公司咧？就係我要想 be able to attract 啲 investors。如果我一個 profit， 我就冇 investors， 嗰啲就叫 donors。所以就 for 我哋 run as 一個 regular startup， 我就點都要一個 outside 香港咧，我哋係一個 for profit 嘅公司。所以其實我諗好多人我知道，如果做一個新嘅 startup， 佢唔會睇好多啲 legal entity 係啲 implication 嘅嘢，但係可以幫到你起步快好多，亦都可以有啲如果你 set 錯咗，可能你唔會揾到投資者。
係，多謝你分享啦。頭先你有講咧，就係有個 plan 係希望可以去其他地方咁樣。咁可唔可以講就係話你有個 next step 係去邊度，同埋你點樣去 make 呢個 decision？Why 點解你會揀個地方咧？
依個就睇下始終如果去 outside 香港就係一個 for profit 嘅公司咧，嗰個覺得係一個 startup。而家啲 days 唔可以再好似 Facebook 話我淨係 grow 個 user base 之後先賺錢。Since 我哋係一個到時係一個 for profit 嘅 business， 我哋有啲 KPI 要 meet 咧，其實就睇下邊啲 country 係我哋可以 make money。嗰個 since 我哋有兩個 paying customer， 一個就係啲 international school， 一個就係啲corporates。corporates 就最好我哋揾啲 global 嘅 corporates， 佢有唔同嘅 location。譬如如果你話 banks、investment banks， 香港、新加坡、東京、首爾嗰啲全部都喺晒嗰度啦。跟住我哋就會 focus on 嗰啲 cities。IB school 咧，其實有英國啊、新加坡，所有 IB school 都係用一個 same 嘅 platform manage 佢自己個學校嗰啲嘢 ，which 叫 manage bank。如果我哋可以同你做到 integration， 我哋就 focus 所有 IB school 有嘅 location。which 就香港、台灣啊、新加坡嗰啲，嗰我哋會跟住嗰啲 market 嚟跑，因為嗰度係我哋行。Okay, she was asking basically where, since I had expansion plans internationally, which are the locations I would target and why. And I was telling them because once we go internationally, we are actually a for-profit company. And so making revenue should be one of those core factors. So I was saying you can't rely on the old days where Facebook was just growing a user base and then make money later. I think these days investors are very keen for you to focus in terms of where does the money go to, where does the money come in, so you need to target on those. So since our target customer are actually corporates, international corporates and international schools, International corporates, especially if you look at banks, they have an office in Singapore, Seoul, Tokyo. So those are the key cities that we're going to target right next. International school, the same thing. Apparently, a lot of international school, they use the same system across all IB schools. So we will do one single integration with those IB schools with that system, and so we target all the IB schools like globally. So UK has it, Singapore has it, Taiwan, yeah.
On how to attract investors and secure funding.
Okay, so I would say first is you need to have some savings on the side first, and then create something, create a prototype without looking at the investors. Don't even waste time on pitching to investors if you haven't created any prototypes. There's nothing you can show, right? Especially your students, no offense, but so you pitch an investor, you got those great ideas, fine. A lot of people got great ideas. How do I know whether you can execute, right? You might be able to talk over very nicely, but then how's the product going to look like? Because there are a lot of different differences or difficulties in executing. Even the platform that we build on volunteering, it sounds very simple. Create a post, volunteer post on it, and people can sign up. But did you know there's so many different kind of volunteer opportunities posts, different schedule, calendar views, different NGOs. NGOs are not tech savvy, so you have to be different. We were trying to, at the beginning, we were trying to make it very nice for NGOs, but apparently the very nice look doesn't go well with the NGOs. They'd rather for us to look more traditional way, more like an Excel spreadsheet on the back. So obviously for the volunteer side, it looks very fancy. We follow the material design of Google. On the NGO side, it looks totally different. But those are things that you don't know until you already start executing it. And I think the investors, they will want to see how are you going to coping with those challenges? Are you going to be able to turn it around, or are you going to just be stuck? Those are the key things that they need to see before you get any money. And I want to see that you're fully committed. I mean, now me looking back is, I do understand why certain people don't invest money, or certain people do. I want you to basically get fully involved. I want you to put all your savings in the basket, and only then I will invest money in you, because I know you will try everything you can to make it happen, and rather just pay yourself a salary up.
Thank you, Matthew. Due to time limits, so Q&A session will be up here, and then if you guys have any questions, you can approach Matthew like after the ceremony. So please remain on stage, and we now invite the project director for Hong Kong Social Enterprise Challenge to give you a token of thanks.